Hi, Jason Knott with CE Pro, and I am very honored and excited today to be with Rikki Farr, who is the Chairman and Chief Creative Officer for RIVA Audio. RIVA made a big splash at the CEDIA 2016 Expo just a couple weeks ago. They are out with a high-performance wireless multi-room audio solution targeted at the custom installation community. So, Rikki, thanks for taking the time today.
Oh, absolutely, my pleasure, Jason. And heartfelt thanks for your kind words in on your journalistic side.
Thank you very much. So,
give you set standards for us.
You have an amazing background. Can you give everybody just a brief sense of your background and how that relates to the founding of RIVA Audio?
Well, in 1960, I was on the run, son of a famous heavyweight boxer who fought Joe Louis, and always getting into trouble. You know, in England, the Anglo-Saxons like a fight in the pubs, and my brother and I were constantly defending my father because he was a champ, and there's always somebody with a belly full of beer that wanted to knock us around. So my father, I got into trouble. We overdid it one day defending him, and my father gave me £100 on a passport and he said, go travel and come back when you've got a little better control. I ended up on a rainy night at about 11:30 on a Saturday night in Hamburg, in the red light district, having just left Denmark. And somebody behind me said, "Oh, you're the boxer's boy. You were in trouble. I heard about it. You in the newspapers." And I turn around, I go, "Oh my God, here we go again." And he says, "No, no, man, I'm with a band, the Silver Beatles." He says, "My name's John Lennon." And I met John and went over to the Intra Club, and I stayed there for 4 days. Do with my life, and it was very it was very primitive in those days, but I started putting the Beatles on in town halls, and then of course there were Yardbirds with Eric Clapton, and it just grew, and we were all young. Rod Stewart was playing harmonica with Long John Baldry and the Hoochie Coochie Man, and you know, Steve Winwood was with Spencer Davis, being sneaked in through the club door because he was only 16 and too young to be singing. I mean, it was that era. It was all happening. The Who with the high numbers playing at Club Norique, the Marquee Club, moved them into the Marquee. And, you know, I know now we're talking, and the Pink Floyd, who of course stayed in my warehouse in Marshalsea Road and wrote Ummagummer and then Dark Side of the Moon. So I was involved at the very beginning of what has now become legendary. So frankly, I don't look at it like that. I remember when we all had to collect money to get one of the bands like Jerry and the Basshead Makers didn't make enough money at a show and give them gas money to get back to Liverpool. It was a whole era of, you know, and then Chris Blackwell asked me to go to Jamaica, and I met Bob Marley, and Bob Marley came over, and I worked with Bob until his death. So it just it was happenstance, and it was learn as you go along. But the one thing relevant to what we're talking about is that what was in my blood, my DNA, was this passion and love for what we were doing. Because as we worked, all of us, so hard, but it wasn't hard work because we were doing something that we just loved. You have to remember, after the war, the world was very gray and dark green, and then all of a sudden in the swinging 60s and 70s, color came in, fashion came in, and flared trousers and paisley shirts and all the things which led on later to the hippie revolution, the darkness of what was left behind from the 44 war, the last war. And music became this, you couldn't, in England there's 3 tiers. There's the upper crust, the very low crust, and in the middle. It's like their beer, frothy at the top, scummy at the bottom, but brilliant in the middle. And it's that middle part is where these young kids who had no real opportunities started making music in basements, in pubs, and in their mothers' back rooms. And these are legends today. These are people who you're here streaming by the millions. Well, now we come to streaming, and I'm sitting in my daughter's house, granddaughter, and she's playing me on this little box. She's in love with the Pink Floyd, and she's playing me Wish You Were Here. And I'm listening to it, and I'm going, that's not the song. That is a treason. Whoever took that song and became a complete traitor to the warmth, the magic, the tone, the modulation, the dynamics, and completely squashed it into a flat sausage of toothpaste and called it music. And then my grandson gives me these earphones, which name the company, but they were sold for billions of dollars. And I put on these earphones and I'm listening and I'm going, this is absolutely wrong. This is not beats, it's beeps. And this is not the music as it was made. And the whole generation is being educated with over-processed bass, over-processed high-end, and left all of the incredible modulation out of the middle. So, Rikki, you can either do something about it or shut up. And I'm not very good at shutting up when it comes from my passion about music. So, fortunately, having the, shall we call it, the production celebrity that I enjoy, I was able to build around me a team of amazing people. And even though I'm the trumpeter in the band or the lead singer, I'm on the front microphone, there's a phenomenal band behind me making me look much better than I truly deserve at times. So we decided, let's do something to make something that people can install into people's homes that is intuitive, is simple, uses the technology that is available and coming today, especially in IA, especially in IoT. Let's utilize all the things that make not only the simplicity of control, but let's make sure that when that music does play, it has all the nuance and the beauty and the tonality, as much as one can. Because let's face it, a small box is a hostile environment to something that's being mixed down on some Tannoy Golds or Tannoy Reds or JBL 4311s in the recording studio. But we have found a way to do it. And I would be really pretentious to say to you, Jason, that of course our great brains all came together and we did it. We worked on supposition and experience, and we worked with physics, and we worked with a team, and we tried and we tried and we couldn't get there. And then one weekend, our head engineer and president called me and said, I think I've got it. And that Monday, we played it, and that was Trillium. And so, yes, great effort, great minds, great engineering, but a great big chunk of luck too. Because sometimes luck has to come into it before you make that signal, where you can take a signal and you can take that signal, reweave it into 3 channels and play it through a single speaker and feel that true sense of stereophonic immersion without having to get the lobes of left and right speakers. And when we sent that to the Worldwide Patent House and they granted us the patent, I reverted to my 40s and went out and behaved like a child. Took my time, took my whole team with me. We really celebrated because we did come up with something that you have listened to and have enjoyed, and people who are now getting exposed to it are simply, is that coming from that? Time and again, people are looking under the table and looking for, and it's not a gimmick, it's physics. And
why is this so well suited for the custom installation channel?
Well, because of many reasons. I mean, the custom install channel need to be two things. Firstly, they need to have products that are not going to get a lot of customer calls. That's the worst thing that can happen to an installer if he puts in a system and is getting tech calls all the time. 2, that is really simple and easy to install. And thirdly, it can be profitable. You see, everything I've done has never been born on greed. It's been born on the quality of execution. I'd love making cakes that everybody has a fair share of. So I'm not owned by banks. I'm not owned by this or that. My partners understand clearly that I'm irreverent. I have no reason to ever be told I can't do it, that I challenge myself. And the minute I've got there, I start all over again and challenge myself again. And when my guys come to me and say, this is it's finished, I bang the table Khrushchev style and say, hell no, let's do it better. And everybody goes off and invariably it does get better. And it's just, I treat my team like I treat my artists. You can get a better pitch. You can get a better tone. The bass player, you can play closer with that bass drum. And this is what, and this is what I did from a young man. I became the adjudicator, the man sitting in a rehearsal room telling the artist, that's terrible. There's no dynamic. It's just one monotonic song. The audience are going to listen to it like, so I tried to bring the same into our product. And I must tell you, we found a way to do it. And from an installer's point of view, once we listen, you see, here's another thing. If you don't listen, and you don't listen to the people who are going to help feed you and your family, your team, then you don't deserve to have that team and family. So when the installers say to us, we would love to have this, we're small enough with a big enough operation behind us to turn around. We're a team of commandos. We're not like a big army, like a big Harman or a big whatever. So we can listen and we can go to the drawing room very quickly. And we have all of the electronics and the software capabilities within our team to turn around and say, if you really need this, we'll make it. And make 100 or 200 of these and see if they really are as effective as these guys ask us for. And if they are, then we produce them. So we really are, in a sense, a tailor shop for people as they are growing and learning better ways to make install. And as the new technologies of today are arriving, especially with voice control, artificial intelligence, attaching, turning on the lights, changing the thermostat, security cameras, closing the garage door. Even I see in Germany, there's some coffee pots that you can turn on by voice. I mean, voice control. Because you see, music, you can see music on a video. You can hear it. You can't smell it or taste it. So those two parts of the human sensories are critical. So now what you see, you can ask for. And it's just a natural evolution of technology. And what I want to do is make sure, and believe me, Jason, we're not going to get it right every time. But I tell you what, when we get it wrong, we'll hold our hand up and say, we got it wrong, we're fixing it. There's the only arrogance here, that gets us out of bed is the desire to be better. And by better, I mean building something better for the pleasure of the person who owns it.
Right. So now integrators who want to become, hear the WAN series or become resellers of the WAN series, what should they do? Should they go to your website? Who should they communicate? How can they contact you?
Well, what we're doing right now is we're setting up, and we've brought in Mike Gleason, who was very well known in the CE world, CI world. What we're doing right now is we're still polishing and refining the products, and we're still working on the new. I mean, as we speak, people are writing code for voice control, and I mean, sorry, that was my phone making a noise. So while we're I'm sorry. I got it. In terms of answering your question, I'm sorry about that. It's everybody sticking their head around the door. In terms of finding out and initiating a relationship for the products and going forwards, it's sales at ADX Audio.
Okay, but through Mike, you're setting up an independent rep network that's going to be reaching out individually to dealers.
We're going to go back to all the reps that were so responsible for building a certain brand or two that are now getting screwed with margins and disregarded because, the people that make you, and I could talk of companies, and I won't go into names, but you think of companies that have risen to great heights and great success with great financial reward that are now really on the down because they felt that they could make more money by dispensing with the people that got them there. People make business. People who believe in the product. People who will knock on the door travel in the snow, get on the train, get on the bus, drive, and take products. Make sure they're set up in the store correctly. Make sure the sales staff in the stores or wherever they are, or the customer that you're installing it, understand it. You can't take those people out of it. And if you even, I don't care if you're $1 billion company like one particular company, the minute you dispense with them and think that it can all be done by osmosis, wrong. And it beautifully, and I love it because it leaves the door open to a very organic company like us that loves our customers, loves our people, will absolutely develop the best customer service we can, and also build a product that is intuitive to install and intuitive to use. And more importantly than anything, sounds wonderful.
Well, you're speaking the language of the custom installation community, because they're all about creating relationships with their customers and being partners with their customers, and they want to be partners with their vendors too. You know, we could probably spend all day in this conversation, Rikki, but I think we need to end it. Thank you so much for the time.